Hello, my little potatoes. If you've been hanging out with me for the past few weeks, then you know I had plans. Plans to watch A Woman in the Yard and Death of a Unicorn. For A Woman in the Yard, I was not hearing great reviews on it, so I ended up just getting a ticket for Death of a Unicorn instead. I had to refund my tickets for that one because I was hanging out with my mom and we just missed the showtime. Then, mind you, this is all happening over the course of a weekend. Then my honey told me he wanted to see A Working Man instead, and here we are, talking about A Working Man. I had no plans to watch this movie. Hey there, movie lovers. Welcome back. It's your movie buddy here, ready to talk about the latest movie I watched a couple weeks ago. Whether you're a longtime subscriber, follower, or you are here with me for the first time, I am happy to have you here. If you are looking for detailed plot breakdowns, you won't find them here, but stick around for my spoiler-free thoughts and honest opinions on the latest film I watched in theaters. With that all out of the way, let's get into today's episode on A Working Man. Levin Cade left behind a decorated military career in the Black Ops to live a simple life of working construction. However, when human traffickers kidnap his boss's daughter, his search to bring her home uncovers a world of corruption far greater than he ever could have imagined. You know, this is whenabouts we get into the theme, the deeper meaning, that core. But this movie is just so... we'll talk about it in a second. The heart of the film really is how family doesn't look one way and how loyalty can push you to overcome adversity while also highlighting the struggles of the working class, especially those who face financial hardship. Honestly, it sounds kind of silly getting heavy like that considering this film, but I try to look at every film through the same open lens, so here we go. Levin Cade is just a working man trying to keep his head down and kind of maintain his life. He's trying to spend time with his daughter while also being in a custody dispute. You really feel for the guy. On top of all of that, his boss's daughter, Jenny, gets kidnapped, and this really is something that impacts him because his boss, Joe, is more like family to him, and there is one thing about Jason Statham when he's just trying to enjoy a simple life, far removed from the work he retired from. Don't mess with the people close to him. Clearly, no one got the memo, and while he was reluctant in the beginning, that love for his family and loyalty really pushed him to step back into the world he left behind to bring Jenny back home. Now, I know at the top of this episode, I said I did not plan on watching this movie, which is true, but we can still talk about what works in this movie. Usually the section we get serious, right? We get into it with the cinematography, lighting, acting, and so on. But you already know what type of movie this is, so we're going to go into this section accordingly. What works about A Working Man? Everything. Director David Ayer and Jason Statham strike again, and maybe you wish they would stop, but you can't stop a retired man from coming out of retirement for justice and revenge. You should have just left him and the people he cared about alone. Former pro diver Jason Statham is doing what he does, which is what he always does, and if you saw my slightly more serious review on the Beekeeper, then you know I'm not mad about that. The rest of the cast somehow matched his energy of just knowing what kind of movie they were in. No one stood out with incredible acting, and no one dragged the movie down because, let's be real, the acting might actually be the best part about this movie. The fight choreography was fine. I was going to talk about it in the critique section, but let's talk about it. The action was just fine. I said in my notes when the credits rolled that the action was good enough for streaming, and I still agree with myself like a week and a half later. The action isn't a spectacle or eye-catching, but it is acceptable if you plan on watching this one at home. Okay, I know we're taking a more lighthearted approach to this movie, but we're still going to get into some criticisms, and I'll share my thoughts along the way. This time around, I did not look for negative reviews online because, to be honest, I had plenty of my own issues with the movie to really flesh out this section, so let's get into it. I know I just said the action is acceptable, and that is definitely coming from a place of having fun with how bad this movie is. But when I was sitting in the theater watching with a more critical eye, I know, my mistake, but I was so disappointed. To be honest, I even checked my ticket during the movie to see what the rating was because I felt like this movie was holding back so much. I know there are plenty of amazing action films that don't push their R rating, but the action in this movie just wasn't that interesting, And when it was interesting, it didn't last long enough. I think they should have really pushed that R rating. It could have absolutely elevated the action and the film by at least making it more entertaining, and the movie wouldn't have felt like it was pulling its punches. If you're wondering about the dialogue, it had me laughing out loud. And not in a good way. It was bad from start to finish, and several lines stood out to me. I'm usually good about suspending my disbelief, but come on, nobody talks like that. If you saw my review on last year's The Beekeeper, then you might remember that my biggest issue with that movie was the fact that the relationships in the beginning are so rushed that throughout the movie we just don't care. It's the same issue here. A Working Man fails to solidify the foundation of the movie, the relationships, the relationship between Levin and Joe and Joe's family. Because of that, we just don't care, and we're more interested in getting to the action. And the action wasn't even that great. Just like with The Beekeeper, I'm going to put it on the writing because Michael Peña as Joe, he was selling the heartbroken father, and Arianna Rivas as Jenny was selling that relationship with her parents and that familial bond with Levin. The writing didn't give any of these relationships the chance to flourish, and do not even get me started on Levin and his daughter and that whole storyline. Finally, the wardrobe was all over the place. It looked like there was no costume budget, so they just borrowed some outfits from Blade and Mad Max. It was weird. Now here's the thing, I don't mind weird or interesting costume choices, I really don't, but it needs to be supported. Amp up the energy and tone to support these eccentric costume choices, or at least be a little meta about it. Now let's wrap up with my final thoughts on the movie. After taking a look at some of the good and some of the bad, the real question is A Working Man worth 1 hour and 56 minutes of your time? In my opinion, I think if you love Jason Statham and what he brings to the table, which is Jason Statham, then sure. But if you're looking for a really good action flick with solid fight choreography and an acceptable storyline and writing, then definitely skip this one, or at least just wait for it to stream. If you're wondering, my honey asked me when the credits rolled if I liked The Beekeeper better, and I answered with, The Beekeeper is better. And funny enough, the middle-aged woman sitting next to me who was watching it with her girlfriends, she leaned over to tell me that they also liked The Beekeeper better. In my opinion, it's got better action, that R rating really hits the mark, it's got better acting, and it's more over the top and entertaining. Now, do I still think you're better off watching any other similar films where something happens to the main character and then we get to watch them enact their vengeance, like John Wick, The Crow, Kill Bill, or even Taken? Absolutely yes. In conclusion, A Working Man does what it does just fine. If you're just looking for Jason Statham to punch people and save the day, then this is a great movie. I'll end this section with a quote I saw on Rotten Tomatoes that really sums this movie up. It's a cross between Taken, John Wick, one of them Matrix movies, and every Jason Statham movie you have ever seen in your life. While not one brain cell will be exercised, you will be entertained and laugh every time you're not supposed to. All right, before we get into the outro, let's talk about what's coming next. I have tickets for Sinners on Friday, the day this episode drops, and I am really looking forward to that movie. I keep seeing interviews with director Ryan Coogler that just get me more and more hyped for this movie. After that, I have tickets for Thunderbolts in May, and if you're wondering what happened to watching Odessa, I totally meant to watch it sooner, I just didn't get the chance. But anyway, the plan is to do that podcast exclusive episode for Odessa between Sinners and Thunderbolts, because the only other movie that comes out this month that I want to watch is Revenge of the Sith. I had to come back in and re-record this because I totally forgot that Until Dawn was coming out at the end of the month. And what's funny is this was actually one of the movies that made my list for most anticipated films of this year, because I love Until Dawn. I love the video game. And I think once I saw the trailers, I kind of got put off. Like I'm obviously willing to check it out. I got tickets for it. I'm starting to ramble, but I am going to go see Until Dawn. And if you are interested in that podcast exclusive for Odessa that I mentioned, I'll be working on it in May. But for now, a huge thank you to everyone who has stuck around with me to the end of the video. Last time we talked was a little while ago. I shared my thoughts on Hard Eyes in a podcast exclusive episode. I actually really enjoyed that movie. I love trying to guess who the killer is And I love me a solid slasher flick with a lot of blood and gore. If you want to know more of my thoughts on Hard Eyes, that episode is available now on Spotify. Again, it is a podcast exclusive, so a link to that one will be in the description if you're watching today's episode on YouTube. If you're interested in that one, please check it out and let's talk about it, because I want to know what you think about the reveal of the killer's identity, how the film balances the rom-com and slasher genre, or even the acting. Honestly, anything. Your feedback is always appreciated, so please share your thoughts on YouTube in the comments below, and if you're listening on the Spotify app, swipe up and let me know your thoughts on today's episode. Do you agree with my take? Do you have a different opinion? What are your thoughts on A Working Man? Was it too generic? I think this movie is best viewed with the brain off. This is not a movie that you watch critically. It's an unserious movie that you put on at home while you're cleaning, while you're on your phone, or while you're talking with somebody through the entire movie. I think it's a good action flick to put on with friends or family and just have fun with. And you know I have to ask, did you like this one more than The Beekeeper? I'm interested to know what you guys think, so let's get the conversation going. If you're enjoying the content on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. If you enjoy on-the-go listening, then you should check out the podcast. Follow me on Spotify so you don't miss out on our podcast exclusive episodes. And hey, if you're on Blue Sky already, follow me at ARocketReview, all one word, for... You know, it's basically like Twitter, and I never seriously use Twitter, so I honestly don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm starting to post a little bit more. I'm there, and you can follow me. Your support, whether on YouTube, the podcast, or Blue Sky, really helps this community grow, and it really means so much to me, and I can't thank you enough. Until next time, spread positivity, and please, please, please be safe, take care of yourself, and take care of the people around you. Take breaks from the news, stay hydrated, don't forget to eat, and a friendly reminder that it is okay to distract yourself. Happy movie watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.